Thank you, everybody. Jai Jinendra. So, we have been discussing on the topic so far about what is in it for me. And as we speak, it's more about okay. Yeah. So, the significance of spiritual studies in our lives. Now, why do you do a business? Profit is the only thing which is significant, isn't it? The existence of business is for the profit. So similarly, you were to ask what is in it for me, and I were to say here that what else is in life apart from spiritual studies. So the topic of discussion today is going to focus on this aspect. Very, very, very critical. The journey from what is in it from me to the state where we are going to talk about what else is of any significance in this life apart from spiritual studies. The way this journey would go is, see, there are two ways, there are two me's. Let's look at that. Like, for example, you have a child, and of course you're concerned about the happiness of the child. But there are two aspects of the child. That child which exists in the today, just the moment, and the child which is actually the existence transcends today, so which is the lifetime of the child. Now, if I were to ask you that what is the focus of the parents, do they want to make the child happy in the moment? Then the priorities would be very different. Then you would just give them all the ice creams and chocolates and toys of the world and let them be in the iPads or the games that they want to play. Because it's very simple. That's what is going to make the child happy in the moment. But the parents will limit all of these things because they are not only looking at the existence and the happiness of the child in the moment, or what the child thinks is right or good for him or her. You can see that the existence of the child is beyond today, the entire lifetime. His health should not get deteriorated. He should feel, he should be a successful person in future. So this perspective precedes when you're defining your priorities. That the existence is not in the moment, but the entire lifetime. So similarly, when we talk about us and our existence, if you talk about my now, my this life, my today, my short-term goals, short-term benefits, short-term needs, short-term indulgences, then probably yes. You know what we are doing is absolutely correct. Why? Because you're pacifying your current lives, current situations, current things. Even if you were to sin and you are enjoying whatever you are doing, you would say it's okay. I am feeling good now, right? So that suffices. But just think that if we are to look at our actual existence, which transcends today, which transcends this entire lifetime of the human life, which is limitless. From that perspective, now think about what is of significance. What is really important? Because, it's a very, very simple, commonsensical fact that anything that you accumulate today here in this life, it's not going to get carried forward, isn't it? The wealth, the possessions, the house, or whatever. See, if you take a bath, it won't last more than a day, right? And again, you will sweat, and again, your body will detox, and again, when you sleep, and all of your, toxins will come out and you will need another fresh round of bath. So the game restarts, isn't it? I mean, whatever hairstyles you do, how much will they last? The haircuts that you do, how much will they last? The fitness of the body, how much will it last? It will perish with the body, isn't it? In this lifetime itself. So the education that you take, I mean, we become doctors, engineers, and what not all the classes that you do, all the skills that you learn, all of these will only last this certain lifetime. It's but obvious with the body which we see perishing right here in front of our eyes, all these things will perish. So we spend in like the Maslow's, pyramid of needs. You are at the bottom, aren't you? Just focusing on food all the time, or shelter, or the basic things that is going to only last this lifetime. So that's what our focus has become. What it needs is for us to understand that if I am not this lifetime of the human life, if I transcend this, if I was there always, I was always there. There was never a time in the history of the humankind, of any life form, of the world, of the universe, when I didn't exist. And. If I'm actually going to be there, I'll always be around. No? I'm not going anywhere. I will be in this very world. There will never be a moment in future when I won't exist. I can keep changing forms like everything that keeps changing forms. But I won't perish. Now, if that becomes my existence, that is the focus, then that existence is of not this body, of the spirit. And spiritual studies is going to tell us exactly that how are you going to make your life better? Which life? Not the life of today, not the life of this human life, but your actual life which transcends time. Now, there was this movie called Sarkar in Hindi where there was this dialogue, very, very important and crucial. I mean, you should always remember it. Good learning. It said in Hindi, कभी कभी नजदीक के फायदे के लिए दूर का नुकसान हम कर देते हैं, बट दूर के फायदे के लिए नजदीक का नुकसान कर लेना चाहिए. Now, what does it mean in English? I'll tell you. So sometimes for short-term gains, you lose in the long term. That's not what intelligent people should do, isn't it? That's very myopic. That's very immature. Though it is very human for us to do that, it's childish. Children do that. No? So, as you mature, as your vision becomes wider, they say sometimes for the benefit of long term, for long-term gains, you should be fine sacrificing or losing in the short term. Now, that's what we are actually talking about here. Because there is one of me which is in today, which we would like to call the paryay, a phase, a state, which will only last so much, and that's it, which has a beginning and an end, which is momentary. And at the same time, I am not just this. Why? Because today will be over after 24 hours, but I will not be over. My game, the player will still play on, isn't it? The game ends, but the gamer doesn't end with the game. The game may restart from the zero, from the basics, every time you shut the game. So every time I find a new life, I will begin from the beginning, isn't it? Fresh ABCDs, fresh, understanding of the cultures, fresh accumulations, possessions, everything fresh. But still, again, we have a bell curve. Again, we will mature there. Again, our game will end. There will be an expiry date of each of the phase, each of the state, each of the paryaya. Why? Because it is called a phase, because it has a beginning and an end, because it won't last. But the very important, crucial question, which is the first question in any spiritual studies, which it addresses is, who are you? Who am I? And the one who can question himself or herself this question, who am I, is the one who has consciousness, isn't it? A mobile will never have this question. An iPad will never have this question. A table will never have this question. A book will never have this question. Who will question this? Who am I? Only something which is capable of knowing, capable of understanding, capable of consciousness, capable to make sense of things. The one which is alive. No? Life. That's called life. Because where there is no life, not only there is no consciousness, but where there is no life, there is no feelings of joys and sorrows. No feelings actually. No? None of the feelings. So it's a very elementary, basic experience. Let's ask ourselves that, do the feelings die with the body? Or the feelings separate from the body? Think of certain examples. The body is having a very different journey, but the feelings are totally in contrast to that. So, for example, you go down in a club or in a building, if you have one, you go in a steam or a sauna. Now, what are you supposed to do in a sauna? You are supposed to sweat, isn't it? Because you will take all the steam. Of course, it is regulated to maximum whatever, 34, 35, whatever your highest degree you can go to, 40, 45. But end of the day, you're going there because you want to sweat, you want to detox. And if the temperature doesn't work enough to make you sweat, it's not hot enough, warm enough, whatever, then you're actually complaining. You're rather saying that this is not working. Why am I wasting my time here? Now look at this. In your house, if the same temperature is there, I mean, normally, generally, because of the summers, you would put your fans on, ACs on. If nothing is working, you will start, putting a hand fan to yourself, which means that you don't want to sweat normally. You feel it's bad. But as soon as, you are in a steam and you just step outside and you have a AC hall, but no, you're still stepping into the steam voluntarily. You want to sweat. And if you're sweating less, you're saying the temperature is not right. Now you see your body is sweating. You're feeling hot, but the feeling is of satisfaction. Oh, good, nice. At the same time, certain other times you may see your body is in a good state of mind, like in terms of, for example, you're feeling fine, like physically you have no issues, but the doctor were to just come and tell you that we'll just do a regular body checkup, and they come up and say, oh God, you have a cyst forming and it can be malignant. Now, physically, if we were to ask you, do you have any issues? No, I'm totally fine. I'm totally healthy. But the doctor is saying that the reports show that you don't have more than a month to live now. What about the feelings? Totally contrast. Now, you will have all the riches physically, probably, good weather, all possessions that you need, good food, everything is being given to you, but you are in a different zone altogether. You're zoned out. What is the meaning of zoning out these days? Every, especially the youngsters, the teenagers, the kids, they get zoned out. What is getting zoned out? It means your body is somewhere else and you are somewhere else, which means that the feelings, the attention, the consciousness, the sense of understanding, that is separate than the body. Because it is possible to be zoned out. Because it is possible that physically you are somewhere else and mentally you go somewhere else. Because it is possible that your eyes are open, but you are not seeing. Because you are thinking about something else. Because you are listening to something else. Because you're feeling something else. Wherever you are, we don't know. But that is what you are, right? Which is somewhere else. Now this understanding of the existence of something, there is definitely something which is not the body, and there is definitely something which knows, which feels, and which is alive. And that thing which is alive is called life. And that is why we are called living beings. Because everybody can experience, all living beings experience life, isn't it? Now, that life, do you think perishes with the body? If it does, I dare you that the same loved one you could not see hurt ever in your lifetime, when that life leaves that body, you yourself go and burn that. You know you're not burning life. You know you're burning a dead body. A dead means that doesn't have life. I mean, just think about it. Just get into the depth of this. So it definitely, 100%, we do realize that something left the body. What was that? That was life. That was consciousness. That was a sense of feeling. Now that is separate from the body. Who am I amongst these two? I either am the body or am the life. But I know who I am. I can question what I am. I have the feelings, which means that I am that life and I am not that body. And what happened to that life? What happened to that life? You never said the life perished, the life ceased to be. You said the life left the body, which means you yourself understand that like a wire, a live wire, the current is somewhere else and the physical wire is something different. So, having said that, just look at yourself and see. The moment my fingers get cut, I don't feel what's happening in that part of the finger which has got cut, which means that I am that life. And if I am that life, and life leaves, which means it changes forms, it changes places, it changes associations with different kind of bodies, but that life is from that spirit, and we'll call that life a spirit here. So that spirit is timeless. I am timeless because I can question who am I. So spiritual studies is not talking short term. It's not myopic. It's not looking at only your today. It's not looking at what everybody else can see, your human lifetime. It's seeing your actual existence, which transcends time. Now, if we settle in on this fact, then there is another story and lot of hordes of questions which we need to address. Where was I before I came here? Where am I going to go after this life? Where eventually, what and where eventually is my destination, or is there any destination at all? Or just wandering is what my, fate is all about? I have to think about it. Because nobody told me I'm beyond this lifetime. So I never planned beyond this lifetime. But now if I realize that I am beyond this, all these questions need to be addressed. And if we are to talk about all of these questions, and there are answers in the spiritual studies about this, it says that there are two types of souls, two types of spirits that we are talking about. These two types of souls, one are the wandering ones, who will keep wandering in a cycle. They'll always be around here. They are in a repeat mode. They will do the same thing. So when you're wandering, when you are in a finite set of situations, however long the cycles may be, but there are always cycles. So the wandering ones are in a cycle. Very interesting fact to understand. And it will take about more than half an hour to be addressed. So we are going to take this topic in the next lecture. We are talking about the wandering souls. We're talking about us who are wandering. We are talking about the souls who associate with bodies, and hence they are in an unending cycle of birth and death. And when you say birth and death, it means associations with separate bodies, different bodies at different point in time, and then you leave them. And you get associated, you leave them. And this is a cycle. And what kind of bodies you're capable of acquiring, and what kind of bodies you have always had experience, and what kind of bodies you will get to again in the cycle, the concept is called Panch Paravarta. That's what we are going to understand in the next lecture. The other kind of souls who are not wandering, who are at peace, who, as we say, are krita kritya, which means they have done all that needed to be done. There's nothing more, there's nothing else that they need to do. They are at peace, they are happy, they are in bliss. And their bliss is everlasting, never ending. So, these two types of souls, one is the liberated souls, as we would call them, because they are liberated from the cycle of birth and death. They are liberated from these miseries. They are liberated from this inconsistency. They are not trapped any longer. The way we are trapped in the same cycle, we are not being able to come out of it. So these liberated ones are liberated from the anxieties, from all the things that was unwanting, that was undesired, that we don't like, where we are not in a happy state. So these liberated souls, that is what becomes our destination, our goal. That is the long-term gain we are talking about, where in short term, you may feel you are sacrificing on the short-term gains. Maybe, why not go just watch a movie and play a game, but listen to you? Why not just sleep around? Why not, socialize, have fun, eat, drink, be merry? Why should we, rack our brains? So this may look like a short-term sacrifice to some. This may look like a short-term, like people say, study well in your younger years so that you can be a successful man when you grow up. It is not a sacrifice because the process is also amazing. But since we are accustomed, we are tuned to think in a certain fashion, because we feel that eating, drinking, and being merry is one style of life where I can see immediate satisfaction. So what we need to do is change our priorities. Because this state is too momentary, it's too short, it's very, very short. And this life that we are talking about, there's no end to that. My life, my own existence in which I'm going to live forever. So, two aspects. First aspect, I am of two types. One, which is the me in today. One, which is the me which transcends time. So the one which is me in today is the paryay. The one is the phase. The one me which is beyond time, timeless. That's the dravya. Both are me. In fact, the bigger me is the dravya me. The smaller me is the paryay me. Why? Because It changes. My priority is for the bigger me. So I need to understand that cycle. For me to understand that cycle, I need to do spiritual studies in depth. I need to understand where have I been. I need to understand where I need to go. Looking at all the living entities in the entire universe, there are two types of living entities. One, which are wandering. They are trapped in a cycle. Another ones who are liberated from this cycle. Now, I see myself as one being trapped in the cycle. My goal becomes to be the one who is liberated. And how do I get from here to there? Becomes my journey. And why this life is very critical. And why you can only, get on this journey at specific point in time. Because it's not that simple and easy as said. How can a living form in the body of a plant, in the body of an ant, in the body of a mosquito, take this journey? How can they do spiritual studies to understand where you need to be and how you will be there? So there's very finite opportunities where this is possible, that you take your plunge, that you change the cycle, you break the cycle. And those specific opportunities need to be banked upon. They need to be realized. They need to be understood, identified. And the priority, the efforts need to change during this phase. Otherwise, you are back to square one. And then how much ever you try, you will never be able to come out of it. So we are in one of those opportunities. And the best time to do anything is always now. Procrastination won't help because we don't know where you land up next in the cycle. In the cycle, as you see, things go up and then they go down. Then they go up, then they go down. Then they go up, then they go down. If you've already come up, it means the next step, you're going to go down. So right now, when you talk about human forms, it's at the top. It's one of the best opportunities. And every businessman knows this, that opportunity lost is business lost. It's the biggest crime. So this opportunity that we have, if we lose this, then you are only going to come down further. It means that your efforts will only weaken over time, or there will be no possibility of doing any efforts at all. How easy it is for a horse to realize his own existence, which is timeless, compared to a human being. So we will understand these cycles, the Panch Paravartan, which is the cycle of life of all the wandering souls. Where have we been? How have we been? Where will we go if we don't do anything about this? Is coming up in the next lecture. The time is up. You have any questions, please feel free to ask. And it would be great if you can also show up your faces, because then I will feel that a soul is talking to a soul and not to a wall or a gadget. So yeah, with this, we will conclude today's lecture. Right. It's an excellent question. And the way we need to understand this is that, do we really understand what will make us happy? Do we understand the definition of true happiness? And this also, spiritual studies is what is going to tell you all about. Why? Because the definition of happiness, like I will just give you a couple of examples. Again, I mean, this is just an example, so not to be taken negatively. Normally, the film stars or the politicians. I mean, a budding or a struggler actor or a budding film star. For them, I mean, at that point in time, they feel that, once I become the top star, I'll be very happy. There are some who come at the top. Are they the happy now? No, they want to maintain their position. So there are some who have maintained their position also. Are they happy? No. If you get into the personal lives of any second person, talk about powerful people, politicians who have a lot of wealth, talk about all of them. This is a mirage, because happiness is happiness when you want nothing more after that. When you're peaceful, where you're in a state of satisfaction. Dissatisfied person can never be happy. And do I need to prove why? Because you're always, anxious. Anxious for more. Anxious for another level. So wherever there's anxiety, wherever there is stress, there can be no happiness. And that happiness only which comes with peace, that happiness only which is independent. How can you be happy if you're dependent on somebody else? How can you be happy in that insecurity that your happiness will be snatched away from you any moment? That happiness, which is true happiness, only can be when it is independent. That happiness can only be happiness, that peaceful happiness, which will never cease to be, which is everlasting, which is not momentary. How can you feel happy when you know that this is going to end? With the tick of the hour, it's all the mark of 12 in Cinderella's life, isn't it? Are all the happinesses are which end at when the clock ticks 12 and you are back to square one. And all that you see, your riches become rags. So the definition of happiness, it cannot be an insecurity, anxiety, momentary, which has no peace, which is harmful in the longer term. People feel happy taking drugs. People feel happy eating fried food. And when the paralysis strikes them and they can't speak and they can't move and they are sleeping in their shit, how can you be happy if for that moment of, eating unhealthy, you're stuck with that fat for a lifetime and your life is, more hell than a plant, rather you can say. So happiness, the definition of happiness again needs to be understood. Who will be happy, the body or the soul? Let's just think about it. But you are pacifying the body for the happiness of the soul. But they both don't work in tandem, as we just saw in a few examples. See, I feel I am happy. But you give the body what it needs. There's no guarantee you will be happy or not. Most of the people who are watching a movie and eating popcorns, what's making you happy? The movie or the popcorn? Now look, we're just going to the depth of this. When you're watching the movie, you feel, wow, amazing movie. I am laughing my heart out or whatever. Love it. Now at that moment, you're enjoying the movie. Then when the popcorn goes into your mouth, even if you were enjoying the movie and the popcorn was in your mouth, you were not enjoying the popcorn, you were enjoying the movie. Why? Because your attention was in the movie. Now, as soon as your attention comes to the popcorn, you are like, oh, nice popcorn. You're not enjoying the movie in that moment. Actually, you are mistaken. You were neither enjoying the movie nor the popcorn. You were enjoying the feeling when you asserted yourself, oh, this is good. The popcorn is good. The movie is good. It's that conscious state of mind which is telling you, you are happy, which is making you happy. When you go on a holiday, you don't enjoy the holiday. You enjoy the moments when you say, oh, this was amazing. That feeling of amazingness, unless it is ascertained, unless somebody tells you, oh, you're having a great time, unless you look at the photos and we had a great time, you didn't feel it then. You're feeling it now. So your conscious thought process, when it tells you you are happy, you feel happy, which means the conscious thought process, I said, the consciousness. What is happy and sad is the consciousness, not the body. So you must have seen this a lot of your times in the lifetime. I mean, if you were 5 and 7, and I were to gift a girl a doll or a boy a whatever scooter, and they would have been on the top of the world. And if when you are 25, I give you the same doll, and you laugh it out. Why? You're the same girl, right? No, I'm not the same girl. Yeah, my kids, so even in yesterday and today, they will keep telling me, I'm like, yesterday you liked this vegetable. What happened today? I said, I change every day, mom. This is not yesterday, right? This is today. I don't like it anymore. Things change within moments. The first ice cream you have, you will like it. The second ice cream I give you, you'll be fine with it. The fourth or the 10th ice cream I will give you, it will be a punishment right now. So happiness is a state of mind. Happiness is consciousness. And happiness is not that happiness, that dependent happiness, where you need others for you to be happy. And happiness cannot be a phase. So all this again in depth, when you will go through the Jeev program, there are videos which are very specifically aimed at explaining each of these concepts. These are very short lectures that we are trying to, these are trailers. You have to watch the movie to understand the entire concept of how it works. Okay. Sure.
So to access the lecture and all the other things available on Jeev, you just have to visit the website, go into a particular course under resources section. So there is this top banner where there is resources. Inside, there are different courses. You will click on Discovering Jainism, which is connected to our current topic. What is it for me? Then you'll click on that. On the next slide, you will see this. There is a Start Learning option. When you click on that Start Learning, we will prompt you for a sign in with Google or with your phone number. When you log in, you will access the full course, which has all the articles, presentations, videos, quizzes, everything for that particular topic. And for every topic, you can just go to the resources and start learning, and you can access the videos and other material over there. And this is our website URL. This is the email address in case you have any questions or queries. And these are our social media handles. You need to follow them so that all these lecture updates, who are the next speakers coming in, will be posted on these social media handles. And I will just announce on the next Saturday, Swanubhuti Didi will be joining us for the third session, which as she has mentioned, will talk about the endless journey of the soul across the universe, across all the 4 states of existence in Panch Paramita, which is a very, very interesting and an inspiring topic. So I request all of you to join us live. And with that, Didi with Jinwani Stuti, we can end.
Sure. सहजानंदी शोध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्मस्वरूप सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्मस्वरूप सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्मस्वरूप निज की निधि निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है इसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना शत बार है वंदना शत बार नो वन
Thank you, Didi.
Jai
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, Jai Shri.
Jai.
Recording stop.